This is all really amazing soil aggregate. I mean, this is really the gold standard here. The consortium of the right fungi and bacteria, primarily fungi. We're going for a large diversity of microorganisms. This isn't like culturing a microorganism in a sterile lab where we don't want anything else growing. We want the opposite of that. We want natural selection, the toughest microorganisms from all these climates to culture and work it out, and the strongest survive. We want that diversity.
When we started about 4 years planting cover crop, we could barely get anything to grow. And I think that was when the light bulb came on for me. I understood it saved water. I wasn't ready for how much water it actually does save, which taught me what the difference between soil and dirt is, right before we were farming dirt. And I remember you saying that, guys, you should be able to get over a 20 on the brick scale. And, what I had known about bricks, or what I understood, and the levels that I kind of thought of, oh, this guy, there's no way. But this summer, I had 20 pluses.
All right.
With the process, I think Mother Nature is absolutely amazing. I think being a farmer is so interesting, exciting to me, and I think sometimes we just have to let it do what it knows how to do.
What's up, guys? Preston with Road Regeneration here, taking a road trip, as you can see, headed to the heart of the agriculture of California and really the United States overall. I'm talking about the Central Valley, California. I'm headed up to see a friend and farmer by the name of Richard, who's a pistachio grower, 4th generation pistachio nut grower. I'm really excited to work with Richard. He's definitely a catalyst and a visionary for change in agriculture. He's been transitioning grazing sheep. He also started implementing cover crops. So essentially what I'm doing is coming out to help him culture some piles of IMO, Indigenous Micro Organisms. So these IMOs will help to really kickstart the soil microbiome, get the nutrient cycling going to break down the organic matter and really form those associations with the trees in the orchard and really just seeding life. So already with the cover crops and the biological inoculants he's applied, he's already seeing that the field holding capacity in his orchard is really improving, so much so that he can substantially cut the water from previous year's regimens of water that he's used. He's cutting that about a third right now. Eventually he'll be cutting that to a half of what he was using doing conventional farming methods, and really believes there's a better way for the industries here in the Central Valley of California, the San Joaquin Valley, where we have a lot of destructive conventional farming practices. Heading up along the northeastern bench of Los Angeles, getting out into the country. It's a beautiful evening. So we're in Richard's shop here in San Joaquin Valley. Whereabouts are we, Richard?
We're in Hanford, right below Fresno, is kind of the largest city, right above us. Smack dab right in the middle of it.
Excellent. Richard collected all this beautiful topsoil. This is soil aggregate. So where did you collect all this?
So we agreed that the closer to our climate was better. So we started close by. We were fortunate enough to find an old river bottom about 10 miles away that we started on and got quite a bit, through there. But we've also traveled probably 90 miles. Is the farthest up into Three Rivers. I've gone up to the Bass Lake area, got a little bit. 4 or 5 weeks, we spent quite a bit of time, doing this, trying not to overtake from any in one spot. I can kind of look at the area and you kind of get an eye for it. And I feel like I can kind of see it from a distance and know where to find it. So the last tote was pretty easy.
Awesome. Are you looking for like old growth sections or like tree lines, or what kind of criteria?
So I've noticed that it seems like they like the cold, wetter areas, a lot of trees, covered, the sun's not piercing it. Seems like a lot of ridge tops, edges. Section all of a sudden will disappear and then you'll just kind of keep looking and all of a sudden you'll find another spot. It kind of comes and goes, and so you kind of learn what to look for.
This is all really amazing soil aggregate. I mean, look at these clumps of mycelium soil aggregate here. I mean, this is really the gold standard here of topsoil and aggregate. I mean, he's got 4 IBC totes here. We have 20,000 pounds. 20,000 pounds?
I think it actually is. It came out at I think 24.9.
24.9.
Yeah,
1,000 pounds of corn mill run.
We're gonna have a pretty good sized pile, I think.
Yeah, so our plan is to inoculate with the leaf mold. This is an old school style that actually Master Cho prescribed before doing the IMO 1 and 2 methods. So I'm not changing really the recipe or really taking shortcuts. What we're doing is simplifying the process, kind of doing the bare bones necessities to get a good pile of inoculant done with the most basic things that we can on a large farm. Richard's got 200 acres of pistachios outside.
Correct.
So that's the plan, and this is beautiful, man. This is going to go great, I'm sure.
I've been studying this for quite a few years, and the simplification, I think, for what I consider this area is going to be needed.
Rule 0 is, use what you have available. On a large scale farm like this, to get all the KNF inputs would be really challenging and frankly expensive to use FPJ, brown rice vinegar, OHN. We're talking thousands of dollars of inputs and really months and months of time to make that. So it's not really feasible and approachable for large scale agriculture for the most part. Now, some of what we're going to make in this IMO pile will be used to broadcast a dry amendment, but also keep some as an inoculant for compost teas. And in those teas, we can add some nutrients, some inputs to that. But for the sake of making a large pile of IMO 3 or leaf mold IMO, we're going to keep it real bare bones. Diversifying your food sources, adds diversity to your cultures. But for the sake of simplicity and what we are able to source here, we have the corn mill run and then the sea salt. So trace mineral complex with the sea salt and then the carbohydrates from the corn mill run. So aside from collecting the topsoil, the great aggregate that Richard got, he's been making IMO 1s and showing me some video and pictures and really getting some great collections. So were you putting out any of your boxes out at any of these locations? Or
to me, it seemed like maybe I just got lucky on, but the culture seemed to be better when I left it out there in the forest.
You can see he's labeled the locations that he collected these.
Times and and I've got some more different spots.
Great consistency too. I'm seeing here. Sometimes these will get a little watery, and if you're seeing liquid collections, that's not a good thing because that can start fermenting again and grow other bacteria and stuff you don't want in there. But this looks really great.
I may have gone a little heavy on the top layer.
Definitely the sugar cap is a good technique to protect that top layer from the liquid collecting.
We're excited about being able to put this stuff to use.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So diversifying cultures. This is great to have all these different locations that he's collected from. And then along with the totes over there of the leaf mold, that's a lot of diversity of cultures. And that's the whole idea. We're going for a large diversity of microorganisms. And as we're culturing them, we're kind of letting them work it out. This isn't like culturing a microorganism in a sterile lab where we don't want anything else growing. We want the opposite of that. We want natural selection and the toughest microorganisms from all these climates to culture and work it out. And there is an element of competition and the strongest survive, but we want that diversity in these cultures. So here's a cool technique. If you're collecting IMO ones, and let's say you have a risk of wet weather on the horizon, cold temperatures, anything like that, you can collect leaf mold from out in the forest, bring it in, put it in a tote, and then stick your IMO box with your rice cooked in the box with this great aggregate here, and then culture your IMO ones. This is sort of like creating a natural environment inside a shop or wherever, kind of a natural, artificial way of collecting IMO one.
You've got a pretty big dairy mixer. Okay, pull in here. Okay. My fork is a little on the small side to get over, so we figured that we'll put him down. We'll scoop, come over the top, pour in the top. I'll bring over the lift. I think get the water tank with the lift, and I think we'll probably hoist you up.
Okay.
The dance is gonna have to be
sure. That sounds great.
So that's 1,600 gallons. The other one is 4,500 gallons.
So today we're gonna make a big pile of IMO substrate from a bunch of collections he's been doing, leaf mold collections and IMO 1 and 2 collections. So what I'm doing is getting what I might call a decoction to dissolve down some sea salt for the trace mineral complex. This is one of the food sources that we will be feeding to our IMO cultures to culture on the substrate. So we have essentially a 1,600 gallon tank. We might need even more water than that for this pile. We have 25,000 pounds, of corn mill run, and we're also adding about 20% carbon to that, so wood chips and straw. So we have to dissolve in 4 grams of sea salt per gallon of water to get the right trace mineral mix in our solution. And you really don't want to just dump a bunch of salt into the reservoir. It's just not going to dissolve. I mean, pretty common sense there. So essentially we'll just dissolve it into smaller buckets, make sure it's nice and dissolved before we add it to our larger tank. So essentially the math on this for our 1,600 gallons, our tank is 4 grams of salt per gallon. Really, we're looking at 6,400 grams. That essentially translates to 14.11 pounds of sea salt for our 1,600 gallon tank. These are 12 pounds. So we'll need one of these plus 2 more from this other one. Basically, I'm gonna add it to 3. And then what we're gonna do is also add some IMO 2 cultures. Even though we're adding a bunch of leaf mold aggregate to this pile, we're also gonna do some IMO 2 cultures because Richard happens to have them, so why not? The real key to making a great IMO pile is diversity. So the more cultures that we can pull in from different microclimates, basically we're gonna take all those together, the IMO 2s, we're gonna dissolve them into solution as well, and we'll get all those different cultures in the mix. We're gonna buffer the pH with brown rice vinegar, or in this case, actually apple cider vinegar, because it's more available. The whole idea of what we're doing here today is simplifying this process and using what we have available. OHN, fermented plant juices, those are great additions. I'm not discouraging anybody from adding all the regimented inputs to making those those IMO piles, IMO 3 piles, or Leaf Mold IMO, whatever you want to call it. However, the whole idea of what we're doing here today is really the simplification for the materials that we have on hand, easily available, ready to go, can be sourced, close by. And also for the scale, we're on a 200-acre orchard of pistachios here. So when we're scaling up, obviously it takes more and more inputs. So we're looking to be economical with our inputs. It doesn't make sense to really, use a bunch of extravagant inputs that are hard to get if they're not easily available. I'm greatly simplifying the process from some recipes that you might find. Anyways, enough of my rant. Just gonna dissolve in all these salts. So we'll just stir it in. Kind of water structuring here by vortexing our water. And once we get the salt dissolved in, then we're gonna add those IMO 2. Richard has several too, so I'm gonna take a little sample of all of those and put them in here. I have no doubt this pile is gonna take off. Like, it's pretty hot temperatures still. You wanna aim to be accurate, but the thing about Korean natural farming is does not work the same as conventional farming or using salt-based fertilizers, where you have to be a lot more specific with your doses. So it's just something to keep in mind as we're culturing. It's more important you create the right conditions to culture the right microorganisms. And as we scale up from a small batch to a large batch, that doesn't necessarily mean we need X amount of inoculant per substrate as we scale up. When we're culturing a living organism, it doesn't necessarily work like that. It's not this reductionistic math. It's more having the right environment and the right food sources for our culture to start. Then we can have our cultures thrive, and that's what we're looking for. We're gonna dissolve in some of the IMO 2s that Richard has done here. Theoretically, we could just use the leaf mold he gathered because he has 4 totes of it. I mean, that's a lot, and it's really nice soil aggregate. But really the whole idea is diversity and bringing together as many cultures as possible. And so for that reason, we might as well use the IMO 2s. If you have the IMO 2s, you can make them into IMO 3. If you only have leaf mold, you could just use leaf mold. In this case, we're gonna add both for diversity. So we have some strainer bags. Because we're gonna be spraying out of a reservoir that we're basically adding everything we've dissolved, these microbes that we're going to also free into our solution. We wanna leave the solids behind though. We don't wanna get our pump clogged up. So we're gonna use some of these strainer bags here and basically take a sample from all of these into our bags here. And we'll just do like maybe 2 scoops from each of these.
And this one's in a whole nother direction, so.
Completely different soil microbiome here, right? So what would you say, like visually, from the places you collected, from the difference of these soil collections, what differences, like visually, or like trees or plants, did you notice?
Yeah, I noticed the farther I got up into the forest, the real deep forest, that's where I found a lot larger aggregates, just some amazing, I've been calling them marshmallows. That's the term that I came up with Hayden.
We're trying to culture a consortium, so this is what makes this very different than, say, culturing a mushroom, which I think a lot of people kind of equate this to. We're using similar substrates. We're using, in some cases, identical substrates. Different brands, different mill runs, things like that you can culture mushrooms on. can be very similar to what we're doing here, but we're not looking for a specific species, a monoculture. This is all about the consortium of the right fungi and bacteria. We want that diversity of cultures. That's what is going to breed resilience in the soil on our farms. It's going to help to keep in check pathogens in the phytosphere and the leaves. Obviously, Richard and his father, he's a 4th generation farmer here, looking to pass it on to his son, which is amazing. And, you know, these guys have a wealth of knowledge growing pistachios. So from my quick knowledge, what I gathered was that pistachios, you know, they're a desert tree. Obviously, they need water at the right times of year. You know, spring, I would say winter, right before production, they're putting on, you know, the nuts, the fruit. But they really don't like humidity, and they really don't, unlike avocados, which is what I'm primarily growing, that need water consistently and don't like to dry out as much. You know, pistachios are a lot more drought tolerant. They don't like to be overwatered. So if that happens, you can get some systemic fungal issues. And this is what's going to help to keep that in check. So that's the whole idea of what we're doing here, is to build up the soil microbiome, but to spray it up in the phytosphere on the trees themselves too. So basically, yeah, we'll just steep this in now and get all those microbes to release into solution without, you know, the solids getting in there. Just kind of agitate it in. From some of the soil, like I'm seeing some, looks like some humates in here, which are the dark colors that come out from the soil. So that's always a good thing. It's a fungal food. When we're putting it in solution, we're basically getting a lot of the spores out of this. Some of the residual bacteria as well. We're basically releasing this into solution. We can go take these solids and put them wherever you want, compost or out.
Put some in, maybe I'll put some John soon. I'll put some in the orchard. Huh?
Sounds good.
Just biology.
All right, we got some straw. We've got some wood chips. We've got our corn substrate. Things are coming together. All right. Okay.
Since the starter decided to go out an hour before we're ready to make this,
Yeah.
we'll move everything out because that part is too big.
Yeah.
So we'll move everything out to there.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Let's do it. Plan B. That's how it goes farming. You have one plan of action and things change in an instant. It's all right, we got a backup plan. We got the fierce guard dogs of the property. We got the mixer here. Richard dumping his A+ soil aggregate. Just beautiful samples he found. All right, buffer the pH, some vinegar. Okay, that's nice and living. Look at the mother culture there. That's what we want to see in our cultures. Do one more. Okay, adjust our pH. next pile looks like. We're ready to dump it. Yeah, man. Nice consistency here. So you can see, can't really squeeze a lot of water out of it, but it's nice and wet and it's holding some structure. That is the perfect consistency. Okay, we've got a third pile. Just wait till tomorrow when it starts baking. It smells like a fresh bakery. All right, so our mixer also had a conveyor belt that spreads out these nice lines. But what I'm having Richard do is level them off into one pile rather than 3 lines, because we had 2 mixes. This will bring it together, make it more consistent. We have more insulation value in the middle too, more R value. It's much more consistent as one pile this way instead of 3 lines. It's gonna help hold the moisture in too. We don't wanna lose too much moisture. The moisture level is perfect right now. So we don't wanna release too much moisture. Having these 3 mountains where there's much more air exposure. So this is good. This is really good. Beautiful morning here in the San Joaquin Valley. It's the day after we made our pile of IMO 3. We got in the feed mixer yesterday, hosed it down with a fire hose. So let's check it out and see where it's at. Got about 90 degrees right there. It's a little bit starting to warm up. Right here. Okay, rising up a little more, above 90. Okay, so that's definitely above ambient. Let's see what we got here. It's about 95, pretty consistent. 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 65 degrees ambient temperature outside. That is a good sign to see that our temperature is rising up. The mixing is only the beginning. Now we have to turn this pile and keep it below 130 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple of weeks. That's a task, definitely a task. Pretty amazing to be out here and to work at this scale. Super excited. So we'll do an update later, check the temperature. Hopefully we get our loader going so we can turn this pile. We'll have to figure something out. Day 3 here in the San Joaquin Valley, and we're seeing some good temperatures rising in our pile. You can see our temperature is right at 120. So that's a beautiful temperature. Really, we want to maintain the pile about like this for the whole process if possible. This would be great to hold right at 120. As you can see, we have pockets of the fuzzies, all the fungal hyphae that are growing through the pile. So that is a good sign. We are on our way. It's also a little bit more visible right now because we had the morning dew. We can feel temperature in the pile. It's pretty hot. Also, the smell here is much like a bakery. It's a really pleasant aroma. I really love it. We haven't turned the pile yet, so it's good to turn pile after a day of solid culturing. So we're gonna do that. Top layers right there for me.
That was all the one thing in the mountains.
Yeah, the aggregates you guys were collecting. All right, so we just got the pile turned. This is the first turn we've done, day 3, but more like day 2 because day 1, late in the afternoon, we didn't get the pile started till late in the evening. It was done, mixed, and set in place. So it's really had 2 days to heat up. Let's go check our temperatures. We only turned the pile once yesterday. We were up, moving towards 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And we had a cold night last night. Just a hair below 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Absolutely perfect. Over here, just a hair over 120. So we're not in a rush to turn this pile at all. This is really nice. I think later as the temperatures increase, we don't have any risk of rain today. Pretty clear skies, so it's probably going to be a pretty warm day. So what do you think, Hayden? You going to take over the farm one day? Yeah. You guess? Awesome. It's a good practice to move your pile, as you can see, not just for the sake of turning, but if you culture this too long on one spot, then you can get some anaerobic pockets on the bottom. So this is really good to turn the pile over to a new spot. So temperatures have really warmed up today. We had a pretty cool night last night, so we're turning the pile. We got up to about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. No bad smells, no really colorful pockets or anything like that. It's looking really good. So moving the pile over, and as you can see, we're actually taking it down a little bit too, spreading it a little wider. Because we have this hot temperature and we're kind of at the peak now of the fermentation. Everything's really inoculated. You can see a lot of the cultures that are proliferating and growing in this pile. A lot of that aggregate starting to form, visible mycelium, all the good signs. So yeah, we want to try to regulate that temperature so we don't get our pile up too high. It's up above, 130 is really a danger zone. Right up above 120 is right where we want to keep it for as long as we can. And by thinning out the pile, we can really help to control that temperature. And the thing is, we don't want to overturn the pile either, and just start turning right when we see 120 degrees. You can also kind of aerate the pile too much and kind of extinguish it, lose a lot of that heat, that momentum in the pile, and extinguish your pile too fast, where you won't get the aggregates forming as well. So for me, I like to kind of do as little turning as possible while maintaining the right temperatures. And so by messing around with the height of the pile, you can really help to mitigate those temperatures. And even by the end of the evening, we were seeing our pile up a little bit above 120, but I didn't want to turn at that point last night because it was going to be a cold night, and it was coldest night out here yet. And by the morning, we were still under 130, still just right over 120 in the morning. So that worked out really well, stacked a little higher. But now that it's warm outside, taking this pile down a little bit is really the way to go. 3 generations of family out here doing this and making sure everything goes well. These guys are pros. It's in their blood, really. So it's awesome to see. Having a little camp out, Pistachio Farm. It's a little dark. We got some friends abound, some humans, some canines. We're about ready to jump in this pile. It's day 5 here in the Central Valley. We've been working on this IMO pile, pretty big pile here, and it's been going really well. We've been able to keep the temperatures at a really nice level, about 1 turn a day, being really careful with our height here. As it heats up in the day, we'll spread it a little wider. At nighttime, sometimes it's best to keep it a little more condensed, a little taller. And so far we've had really good results, keeping our pile just around 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's our last day up here, so just wanted to help get this pile off to a good start, and we're gonna head out, but let's take some temperatures. All right, exactly 120 degrees right here, perfect. So just a hair under 120, I mean, absolutely perfect. Even the hair cooler right here, about 118, still a really good temperature. A couple degrees variance, not bad at all. No off smells, and also a lot of visual mycelium and growth here, as you can see. So we got our readings all the way down the pile here, and we're looking really good. We had a variance of about 4 degrees, but mostly right at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a really great temperature. If we can hold that temperature for as long as possible, we don't need to turn the pile. That's a really perfect temperature. The more we turn the pile, the more we aerate it, yes, the more we release the moisture in the pile, the steam, off gases from the pile. So we're releasing a lot of the moisture and a lot of the heat, really. But we're also stopping the aggregation forming here. So the less you turn this pile, the more nice aggregates you're gonna get. So I have a very kind of hands-off approach when it comes to making these piles. I wanna see some aggregation. I do see some folks making piles, they're turning it obsessively, and you really don't see much aggregate. And to me, you really want that really nice fungal dominant aggregate. So, we don't smell any kind of ammonias, any off smells, which is another indicator. We're not seeing a lot of colorful cultures in our pile here. Those are some of the organoleptics, those observational things that we can look for as well to make sure our pile looks good, smells good, feels good. If you stick your hand in there and it's really hot enough to really burn your hand and it's unbearable, that's a good indicator to turn your pile as well. So if you don't have a thermometer, then you can do that. So these are some tips that I wanted to share with you. There is a real nuanced science to making this, and obviously we can put it under the microscope, see what we're culturing, always good practice to do. And we should have an array, a nice consortium of fungi, bacteria, saprophytic fungi, lactobacillus, and hopefully we're keeping that more on the aerobic side of things. So we do have some rains in the forecast next week. Definitely make sure if you're making a pile, especially a pile this size, it's a real investment of time, energy, resources, money, all the above. So make sure your forecast is looking good. And if you have some rain in the forecast, definitely make sure you have a way to tarp your piles. As the pile is steaming, you can still capture a lot of that moisture and you can get some anaerobic conditions in there. So make sure you aerate your piles. If you're covering your piles with a tarp, really important as well. Watch for another video in the near future covering the applications on an industrial scale for Leaf Mold IMO. And if you want to come out in person and see the farm, we're having a field day February 26th with some guest speakers. You can see the farm in person and come socialize and get to meet us. We'll be going into more depth on the holistic regenerative management practices happening here at Triple F Ranch Farm. You can find that link for the Eventbrite in the description below. We hope to see you there.
When we started about 4 years planting cover crop, we could barely get anything to grow. And I think that was when the light bulb came on for me, was that, why wouldn't it grow? And I've got a great story, because right across this dirt road on the other side right there, I have pictures of Hayden. It was up to his neck, 13-year-old up to his neck. And on this side, an inch tall, irrigated the same, planted at the same time. And I think that was my aha moment. And then what I did from there was we went into, okay, well, why is this happening? We went back to some of our practices that we had been doing. Well, this was an older block, had been, sprayed. Sometimes, before harvest, we'd spray from tree base to tree base. In between, back in the days where I took a lot of pride on, not even, you wouldn't see one weed, standing in the whole orchard. What I found was the people that I trusted that were, helping us, I didn't feel like they didn't have the answers. They didn't really want to give me the answers. Like, it wasn't, oh yeah, I see that too, let's talk about it, there's a problem. And that's what made me kind of, I think, halt. And then obviously once I started going down this path, I didn't realize the pushback I was going to get, from the industry, is what I feel. The pushback was, questioning me why I was trying these things. And it's tough, right? Because I think any farmer making the transition to this thing, if you're used to, especially, me being a fourth generation, watched, on my dad's lap on the tractor doing this, you watch it your entire life. And I think coming back to that, it was very, very difficult for me to break the spell, to be able to say, well, wait a second, but I believe I held the course. And as I got the pushback, that's what made me dig even deeper. Like, why was I getting so much pushback from the industry? And then I think after that year, learned about no-till, got really in depth on the regenerative. And now, 3 years, which the spot we're in right now is a spot where cover crop 4 years ago literally would not even grow.
Wow.
That was that bad, which taught me what the difference between soil and dirt is, right? Before we were farming dirt. And this tool right here, yeah, we've got moisture meters, we got some technology, but this right here has really opened up my mind, because of what the water that this stuff holds. Between I think the shading of the cover crop, the microbes that we're doing, and what's going on in the soil, as I've told you, threw me for a loop. Right, I understood it saved water. I wasn't ready for how much water it actually does save. Even to the point, as you know, we've had some problems with flood irrigation. Following our normal routine ways of irrigating has completely turned me and made me think different. Finding worms, usually at a normal, anytime I find that, which never even paid attention to worms or even knew, right? I hadn't seen worms in my entire life. And all of a sudden now I'm knowing that. And then, right, studying what worms do and knowing that if they're there, that's a good sign. And so I feel like, it's the whole ecosystem. Having the PCA still a little bit involved, it was very, very difficult for me to hold the course because it felt like everybody around you's telling you, emergency 911, this is not working, get going. And I think the difference is that you're gonna have to do it. And I know this is gonna be a tough thing for people to hear because as you're transitioning, some people say, "Oh, it's gonna take time. Do it slowly." I really feel you have to be all in, or no, don't do it at all.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I'm actually reading the weeds, which so exciting to make this IMO pile and do that because obviously we know as the ground gets more fungal dominant, as the biology increases, that should suppress the noxious weeds.
Yeah.
And so as I'm riding around, I'm learning what that weed means under the ground. Mm-hmm. And as I see certain noxious weeds, like it's a roadmap. I believe it's a roadmap to tell me what to do. Where before a noxious weed was just kill, got to get rid of it. Insects are something that we lost sleep over, during, every night worrying about insects. And now I don't even worry about insects, which I did had a couple of other tools that just checking the sugar level, which that was only for grapes. And I remember you saying that guys, you should be able to get over a 20 on the brick scale. Mm-hmm. And I what I had known about bricks or what I understood and the levels that I kind of thought, I was like, oh, this guy, there's no way. I'm thinking.
I had students from UC Davis tell me the same thing, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna stand by what I said.
Well, I can actually stand right here and tell you that this summer, not only me, but I had other neighbors come out and take it themselves and let them read it, and I had 20 pluses. I seen 20.
All right,
I had 22, 24s.
Awesome.
And I do believe in those spots that it was higher was where the health is better. So I know it correlates. And so I tell every farmer that, hey, you could go out and really map your field with a tool that costs, under
$20, right?
under $50. Yeah. My father, doing it his entire life, he's the one that excites me, right? He was the pushback for me in the beginning, didn't understand it, and now he's right. His famous saying, "You're onto something. You're onto something." And now I can see him. Obviously he knows what a pistachio tree should look like, and when he sees the health and he sees what's going on, he doesn't understand it, but he sees it, and that's what led me to say, hey, I got to hold the course. Before it was, well, if I got the money, I'll put in more fertilizer and maybe I'll have a better year, get more, right? Now it's how much healthier can I get the ground? How much healthier can the tree get? And then it's going to give back to me because I've helped it do that. And it feels right. It feels great. It's a process. And yes, I think half the problem is we get in the way.
Yeah.
I think Mother Nature is absolutely amazing. I think being a farmer is so interesting, exciting to me, and I think sometimes we just have to let it do what it knows how to do, and it's really now something that seems so difficult and hard is starting to become so simple and easy. My father, doing it his entire life, he's the one that excites me, right? He was the pushback for me in the beginning, didn't understand it, and now he's right. His famous saying, "You're onto something. You're onto something," and now I can see him. Obviously he knows what a pistachio tree should look like. And when he sees the health and he sees what's going on, he doesn't understand it, but he sees it. And that's what led me to say, hey, I got to hold the course.
Stanley, thanks for sitting down with me to talk about the history of the farm and growing here in the Central Valley. This is a place that, I don't have a lot of experience or time. I've done small scale farming in Northern California, Oregon, and then Southern California, so I'm always driving through, but never really took the time to stop through here. So, it's very impressive, the scale of agriculture out here, and your family has deep roots here from what I understand. And,
Yeah.
How long has your family been farming here in the Central Valley?
My dad was born in 1919 in Rio de Janeiro. They come to the States in 1920, and they started up north, Livingston, Atwater, Gustine, and until 32 they just kept moving, coming south. My dad said it was always sandy and cockleburs, and they finally got to Hanford, and there was oak trees and good water, good ground. And this is where we set up roots in 1932.
Wow.
So we've been here since then.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you're a second or third generation?
I'm third.
Third generation farmer.
Yeah.
And now your son Richard is kind of taking the reins.
He's the boss.
Okay. So fourth generation, and you have a grandson as well.
Well, I think he's the real boss.
Yeah, right. Well, that's great. I mean, I think I hate to say this, but it seems like those generational farmers are sort of a dying breed.
Yeah.
We don't have as many as we used to, right? It's not as common. What do you think some of those challenges are today that farmers are facing, that are where they're deciding to leave the industry?
Rules and regulations are crazy. They just nonstop. And the people that are making the rules and regulations, I don't know where they come from. They don't know what they're doing. Our costs are, when I got started 50 years ago, if you had $5,000, you could get started farming.
Mm-hmm.
Today you need $5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, our money's no good, and it's everything is crazy. So that's I go back 5-6 years ago. I wanted to sell, and Richard wanted to farm.
Yeah.
So, okay, give this thing a shot if you're. And he was serious, and I could see the drive in him. He's come up with this. He's followed you guys, and I don't know anything about this stuff that you're doing. It's amazing to me, but if you want to do it, we'll do it. So we didn't sell, and now everything you drive down the road, everybody's got a place for sale.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Well, it's the time, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really challenging time. You guys are growing pistachios here, 200 acres.
Yeah,
Is
just under.
Okay.
We had a little over 200, but high-speed rail come through and took 20 acres from us.
Wow, and that's a whole nother thing that's going on.
Well,
this is wild.
There's crazy again. I mean, they've been doing this for 15 years and haven't even laid one set of tracks.
That's insane.
So yeah.
And it took out your guys' water, right? From what I understand.
Right. And we're still fighting it, but I don't know. The guy just spends money.
Yeah.
Seems like there's no getting ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. So have you guys, your family? I kind of heard your father was a dairy farmer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up on the dairy.
I see. And then at some point you transitioned into the orchard business. Have you always been growing pistachios?
No. We were always alfalfa, corn, wheat, anything to bring feed into the dairy for the cows.
Sure.
in 1972, my dad and uncle, they were partners, and my dad was the oldest of the family. My uncle was the youngest. They had 6 kids, and they ended up selling the dairy. We didn't leave. The guy that bought the dairy come and rented our dairy setup, and he was there for almost 10 years before he moved and built his own. And like I said, we grew feed for the dairy, and after that, and then I have a brother, and my dad and uncle split. We had another 550 acres toward Tulare. My uncle took that ranch, and my dad stayed with this ranch. So it was me and my brother, and then we bought some of this property from my dad. And I had a hay business. I hauled hay for 25 years. I'd go out in the field, pick it up, stack it, and then trucks would come, pick up the hay, and take it to the dairies. And I farmed on my own. I had an uncle that I rented some ground from. I had an aunt that I rented some ground from. And then we bought part of this ranch from my dad. And 1985, I had a little family orchard there by the side of the house, half an acre. And I took it out and scraped it. And my neighbors the year before had planted 80 acres of pistachios. And I liked pistachios, so I planted pistachios the following year. And that's how we got started.
Okay.
We started out with 75 trees. We had half an acre.
Yeah. Wow.
Now we got 200. So
amazing.
It's been a process.
Yeah.
So,
expanding. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I think you were telling me the other day that this is kind of the capital for pistachios. There's not many places they grow in the U.S.
California is the perfect.
Yeah.
We got everything. Well, we're here in Central Cal, and we're the breadbasket of the world, I think.
Sure.
I would say.
Yep.
There's almost nothing that we can't grow. I know there's some things, but very few. And good climate. We used to have good water. My dad talked about when they got here in the 30s, like on this right here where these trees are, we had a fence along the driveway, the road.
Okay.
Dig a post hole, and if you didn't put the post in it pretty quick, it would fill up with water.
Wow, so the water table was extremely high.
And it was, now we're farming. In those days, you'd have 40 acres and you farm 5 or 10.
Okay.
Today we farm wall to wall.
Yeah.
If there's another five square feet we could pick up, we're going to pick it up. That's
right.
just the way we do things today.
Yeah.
It's all different. So yeah.
Just maximize
Change.
your space. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the water table has dropped considerably, and
yeah.
obviously there's been a whole water wars going on. And what's your opinion on that? Is that diversion to like LA, the cities, or is that just kind of the conglomerates that own the water rights? Or
there you go again with crazy. If they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't have done that. They got a little smelt. It's not native to California. They brought it in, but they don't want it to get wasted.
Oh, this is what Gavin Newsom's talking
and
about.
And they send the water to the ocean.
Yeah, that's
insane.
It
runs out right by us, and we don't use it anymore. So now we're suffering. But you can go to the store and get anything you want. The shelves are full.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, right.
Now, one day everybody's going to learn. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Common sense is a thing of the past. They don't. It's. I don't know why they don't want it. It's just difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's I hear more and more about ranchers and farmers being cut off from water, and
Yeah.
they're justifying it with these reasons that really don't make a lot of sense. I mean, I can understand, regulating huge mega farms, hundred thousands of acre farms or something like, you know, but the smaller farmers, I mean, this is their livelihood. Water is the most precious resource that we all need, right? And
Right. Well, you were telling me on your situation. You're planting things that don't use as much water
yeah, we're down.
because you don't have the water.
Exactly.
And we're the same way.
Yeah.
The west side, what we call our west side,
Mhm.
which was thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, and they farmed everything: cantaloupe, cotton, corn, beans, wheat, you name it, walnuts, almonds. It's like a ghost town. They don't have no water. It's all drying up,
Wow.
and it's some of the best ground in the world.
Yeah.
But like I say, you go to the store and the shelves are full.
Yeah.
For right now.
Yeah. For now,
It's
right?
gonna be scary down the road. Anyway, my son wants to do this, and I never even knew what this regenerative farming was all about. It's quite something. My wife loves it when the sheep are in here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a process. It's not just one thing. There's a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Like we're making the stuff that you.
The IMO piles over here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one by one. I keep on seeing a different picture. It's amazing what you guys are doing. So we'll see.
I think it was you that was telling me that, back in the day, if you had grasses or anything going, that means you're kind of a lazy farmer and you kind of let your orchard go. Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember how long we dissed everything. We blew everything off the berms. We put Roundup, keep everything clean, and that was what we did.
That was the protocol, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
And you guys were getting, I didn't even know this till I came here. I'm learning a lot from my time here, but I'm forgetting even the acronym for the guys, but you have to consult a guy to come in and basically write you a prescription for
PCA.
a PCA.
They work for the fertilizer company. They went to school. They got a degree or a paper or something. I don't know. Anyway, they passed whatever they had to pass. They get a license, and they come out and they'll check our fields. They'll look for pests. They'll look for weeds. They'll look for this, for that. Take soil tests, leaf tissue tests, and one by one. And
but these guys are for the most part, I mean, you don't really get PCAs that are regenerative for the most part. These guys are all chemical.
I never knew of one. I mean, regenerative, I didn't know what it was myself. And I've been doing this for a long time. But,
Yeah, so it seems like they had a real standard protocol for you got this pest, well, we're going to give you this chemical pesticide to deal with it, and we're going to give you, salt fertilizers. And were you tilling the ground every year?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So between the rows, you would come and till it all up.
Oh, yeah, there was nothing here. I mean, it was, and there's a lot of orchards you drive around today, and they're still that way. To me, this is a new way to farm.
Right.
And what I could see in the trees, the growth on the new wood, the color, we haven't got that bounce in the crop yet, but we haven't sprayed in 3 years.
That's great. And
we have no herbicides, no insecticides, no nothing.
That's awesome. And Richard was telling me you guys aren't seeing the pests you used to see either.
No, well, this is what and something he's taught me. I don't know where he picked it up. He went and got a ginger press. It's a deal that you squeeze ginger or garlic or something. Garlic press, I guess it would be. And he goes and pulls some of these leaves and he puts in there, and he gets a sample on a glass, like you for a magnifying thing.
Yep.
and they test the sugar.
The bricks level, right?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know this stuff.
But yeah, it's the sugars.
12s, 13s, 14s.
Yeah.
We don't have pests anymore.
That's excellent. Yeah.
And it's because of the way we're farming.
Right.
This is all new to me. I wasn't ever taught this.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
as I was driving through, I never learned what he's doing today.
Right.
It's what amazes me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so if you can get that bricks level up, which really has a lot to do with the microbiology, that's what the IMO is that we're putting out, is really establishing the right microbiology in the soil. That's creating a connection with the trees and helping with the sugar content in the trees. And so if you can get that higher, then yeah, you don't have the pest issues, because the pests really go for those trees that they're sickly. You know, diversifying is how you build resilience too. And so you guys have planted all these cover crops and really diversified. Do you think that has something to do with the pests?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We got a friend in Texas that grows pecans, and they were talking about getting bats. But how do you get bats? When you build a bat box, we built a couple bat boxes. We put them up, and when you got the pests, supposedly the bats will find the pests, and then they got a house to live in.
Right.
But we put the bat boxes up, but we've never gotten any bats. Right. Now we don't have any pests.
Okay.
Which is okay. If I don't have a bat, I mean, I can live without bats if I don't have any pests, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's before you go back 3 years, 4 years ago, we were spraying. We never stopped. And it was, and all of a sudden he said, we got to do this. And I said, okay. And the first year it was scary. We had some problems with some bugs and pests, and then all of a sudden, like I say, it's been 3 years now. We haven't sprayed a thing. So
wow.
It has to be this way of farming.
Absolutely.
Now the soil's getting better.
Yep.
We still have a few problems. We got water problems.
Right. If you could explain maybe some of the water problems, because before we had no cover crop going on here. You guys had no cover crop, and pretty compacted ground, I imagine, because you're running big equipment through here all the time, spraying, tilling, things like that. So now that you have all these cover crops down, and the biology as well, it's acting like a sponge, right? So you're seeing very different results on the flood irrigation.
Yeah, on this field we don't have any drip. This is where I started. The rest of the ranch in the back, it's all on drip. Before I planted this, I scraped everything, and it's got a 1/2 fall, which means every 100 feet, 1/10 of an inch.
Okay.
A 1/2 tenth.
Okay.
So it's
very gradual.
It's almost flat.
Right.
It's got a little bit of fall, but it's almost flat.
Right.
So 1,300 feet, you know, you're 5.5, 6 inches from one end to the other. It's almost flat.
Right.
But the problem we're having, the way this, we got some ground up on top, and the cover crop is just growing like it's on steroids. And I don't know, you know. Well, it's holding the water.
Right.
So we get the water to the end, and the where it needs it most, it's okay. But I mean, there it goes. But the next time you don't need to aerate. It's still too wet. That's the problem we've been having.
Yeah. So it's holding way more water
the top
than you anticipated.
And it's so he's working on a setup now to get some sprinklers in here.
Yeah. Which obviously right now it's a kink to iron out in the system to figure it out. But I mean, that's also a good thing that you need less water, right? You guys are having to use less
it's
water.
Another tool in the toolbox.
Right.
If we had if there was a line here, we could irrigate everything east.
Right.
Everything west is fine. We don't need the water.
Right.
So, you know, and then give it a 2 inches or 4 inches, whatever you might need,
Right.
and then go from there. But it all costs money, and it's all
Sure.
expensive, and
Right.
you know.
Yeah, so that's one thing, you know, farmers might want to consider is, you know, flood irrigation systems where you have really compacted, just bare land. You know, it's going to work differently when you get some cover crops down and now you have a sponge. All this biology we're putting in the ground helps with the field holding capacity, so that really sponges up a lot of the water. So it's something to consider if you are thinking about transitioning to regenerative and using cover crops and putting a bunch of biology in. You know, your water usage is going to go way down, but it seems like the sprinklers are the way to go if you can do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It also brings up challenges if you're running like large equipment, harvesting equipment, any kind of you know, tractors coming through, doing any kind of work. I would imagine you'd have to design that to where it's not going to interfere with your drip system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Pistachios really, they're a desert tree, right? They don't like a ton of water. You water them at certain times a year, but they're really drought tolerant, right?
Well, they're a desert plant.
Yeah.
They're a cactus, like you were talking about something the other day about cactus.
Yeah.
I've got a tree in my backyard. I didn't plant it. I don't know, a bird brought a nut, or I don't know how it ever got there. But there comes this pistachio plant tree.
Just showed up.
That one right there in the back of the yard.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It's never been watered.
Really?
I don't water that tree.
Wow.
Whatever it rains, that's what, and it's been there probably 6, 8, 9 years already.
Wow. So yeah,
I mean, they're a different kind of plant. The pistachio is amazing.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, they can handle pretty cold temperatures and pretty hot temperatures too.
We need frost, and we want the tree to go dormant and sleep, rest during the winter.
They need a good amount of chill hours.
They got to have chill hours, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just do what we have to do, and this right here in the valley is optimum. It's pistachio were made. This is the country they were made for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect. So
awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see driving around all the different farms. I mean, everybody's doing something completely different around here, which is pretty amazing to see how the diversity of crops that you can grow here. And everything from nuts, of course, walnuts. I was seeing peaches the other day, grapes, kiwis across the road. You said.
Well, you get to the front of my driveway. My neighbor on the north side was farming tomatoes last year. The neighbor across the street has got cherries. The other neighbor on that side has got kiwis. And we're farming pistachios.
Then you got dairy farms over there.
Dairy's all over the place.
Your dad's old dairy farm, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see the diversity of crops being grown here in the Central Valley, and just the sheer scale. It's just it's amazing. I got my drone in the air, and as far as you can see, it's just fields. Truly amazing. So what do you think is the solution for the future as far as farming in the U.S. and some of the issues that we're having? What do you think are some of the solutions for farmers to stay in farming and not leave the industry?
There's a lot of stuff that we don't even understand, like this regenerative. I don't understand it. Didn't know what it was. And we've got a lot of smart people that they'll find a way to figure it out.
Yep.
And I guess this is maybe the next future.
Absolutely.
From what I could see, I know. Okay, you go back and you talk about all the chemicals for the Roundup, the pesticides, the herbicides, the insecticides. now we're not spending that money on that.
Right.
So now it still costs them to do this.
Sure.
It's a different way to do it.
Right.
But hopefully farther down the road, it's going to be the right way.
Right.
Our food's going to be, these nuts are going to be better for you.
Yeah.
If they were sprayed. And a lot of people don't want all the sprays.
Right.
Everybody, this is nothing new.
Right.
We've done, in the old days they didn't do that, and now they spray everything. So
Yeah.
we got to learn. We got to learn the new ways, I guess, would be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too old for it. I'm turn it over to my son. In fact, tomorrow's his birthday. He's going to be 50. He's a little bulldog.
He is.
He
is, man. He's determined.
He's determined. He loves this, and I've never seen anything like it. So we'll keep doing it as long as we can, I guess.
Excellent. Hang in there.
Yeah.
Well, what an amazing life I'm sure you've seen this whole industry transitioning and to go from conventional over to regenerative. That's a big change. It's not always an easy transition.
Oh yeah.
It's certainly not an overnight transition. I think it was Richard that was telling me he knew some guys that were transitioning, farmers that had tried and kind of given up year 1, year 2. But really, this is a commitment you got to stick with to build up the biology and get the right balance, especially if you've been conventional farming where you got salts built up in the soil, you have a lot of compaction, you don't have much organic matter in the topsoil. I mean, that's not going to be a 1 year, all of a sudden, we're regenerative farming after 1 year when you got that many things to remediate. So, the folks that I think can stick with it for a few years and continue on, and you guys are grazing sheep out here. I mean, I think animals are a big part of that. True regenerative farming, really, you got to incorporate some kind of animals in your system, I think, and you guys are doing that with the sheep, the cover crops, using some Korean natural farming methods with the IMOs, the biology we're getting in the soil. So all of those things compounding is really, building the life in the soil. We were going around yesterday with the probe, and Richard was able to get it way down there in the soil. That means the topsoil is building.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flocculation, and it's aerating down, further down where those aerobic cultures, this IMO that we can put in the ground, can actually thrive. Whereas I think some of these fields like next door, maybe where it's bare, it's dry, I don't think you could get that probe more than an inch in the ground, if that.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. Is there anything else you would like to share about the farm or the future? Anything you would say to young farmers these days? Or
No, I just want to say thanks to you. I don't know how we met you, but I'm really happy to meet you. And
likewise, Stanley.
You're amazing to me, the things that you've helped us with.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it's good. I'm going to vote yes.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thanks for having faith in me, and I'm committed to supporting you
You're
guys
great.
through this. Thank you. Thanks for sitting down with me, Stanley. It's awesome to talk to old school farmers that have been doing this, and this is their livelihood in life, and a lot of respect for farmers, and so nothing but big thanks to you and your family for having me out here, and